I never thought a single weekend could shatter the life I've built. My name's Hannah, and I've spent years in a marriage that's grown as cold as the chipped coffee mug I cling to every morning. Trapped in the silence of a home that feels more like a cage, I made a choice, a reckless, dangerous escape into a world of pulsing lights and forbidden thrills. I felt alive again, my heart racing with a fire I thought had long burned out. But now, as I stand in the doorway of my reality, the weight of my secrets threatens to crush me. What did I do that could unravel everything I've ever known? Picture this. I'm standing in my kitchen, the faint hum of the refrigerator, the only sound breaking the stillness, as I trace the edge of a chipped coffee mug with my thumb. It's not just any mug, it's the one we picked out together on a whim at a flea market years ago, back when laughter came easy. My name's Hannah, I'm 30, and I've been married to Ryan for 5 years now. He's a steady guy, mid-30s, the kind of man who can fix anything with his hands, but can't seem to mend the growing gap between us. As a mechanic, he's gone long hours, and when he's home, his mind's often elsewhere, lost in his hobbies, tinkering in the garage, or planning his next getaway with his buddies. I'm left here, in our small suburban home, surrounded by walls adorned with memories of better days. Photos of our wedding, where my smile was brighter than the sun. Snapshots from vacations, arms wrapped tight around each other, and goofy candids where we're caught mid-laugh. Now those frames just feel like echoes. Our life has settled into a rhythm so predictable it's suffocating. Conversations that once stretched late into the night have shrunk to mundane exchanges. Bills to pay, what's for dinner, did the grocery list get updated? I work from home as a freelance graphic designer, which sounds freeing, but the truth is, it's isolating. My days are spent in silence, staring at a screen, craving a connection that slipped through my fingers. I miss the way Ryan used to look at me, like I was the only thing that mattered. Now I'm just here. I wake up to a Saturday morning that feels heavier than usual, the silence in our empty house pressing down on me like a thick fog. I shuffle to the kitchen, pour myself a cup of coffee, and sit at the worn wooden table, the quiet so loud it's almost unbearable. Each sip burns my tongue, but I barely notice. My phone sits beside me, screen dark and lifeless. I keep glancing at it, willing it to light up with a message or call from Ryan. He's been away on one of his trips with his buddies, and I haven't heard a peep from him in days. My fingers hover over the screen, itching to send another text, but I stop myself. What's the point? The frustration bubbles up, hot and sharp, as I realize he's completely checked out, leaving me here to stew in this void. Later, I find myself standing in front of my bedroom mirror, staring at a reflection I hardly recognize. The lines under my eyes seem deeper, etched from too many sleepless nights. My gaze drifts to my closet, a sea of drab, practical clothes. Neutral tones, shapeless sweaters, nothing with life. On impulse, I dig through the back, my hands brushing against something silky. I pull it out. A red dress, sleeveless and daring, the kind that hugs every curve. I haven't worn it since my early 20s, back when I danced until dawn and laughed without a care. I slip it on, the fabric cool against my skin, and a rush of nostalgia hits me. For a moment, I'm that girl again, bold and untamed, my heart racing with the memory of who I used to be. By late afternoon, I've made up my mind. I'm not staying in this suffocating house another minute. I grab my purse, slip on some heels that haven't seen the light of day in years, and head out to Neon Pulse, a club downtown I've heard whispers about. As I step through the doors, the bass hits me like a tidal wave, vibrating through my chest. Strobe lights flash in a dizzying rhythm, painting the crowd in bursts of color, blues, purples, reds. The air is thick with energy, bodies moving in sync, a sea of carefree souls lost in the beat. I feel like an outsider, awkward and stiff in my red dress, my hands fidgeting at my sides. I weave through the crowd toward the bar, my heart pounding louder than the music. I order a fruity cocktail, something sweet to mask the nerves, and perch on a stool, sipping it slowly. The cold liquid slides down my throat, but it doesn't ease the tension in my shoulders. I scan the room, watching 20-somethings laugh and dance without a care, their confidence a stark contrast to the uncertainty gnawing at me. I feel out of place, like I've stumbled into a world I don't belong to anymore. After a second drink, though, the edges of my anxiety start to blur. My grip on the glass loosens, and I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. The music seems to pull at me now, tempting me to let go. I slide off the stool and make my way to the dance floor, hesitant at first, but then the rhythm takes over, and I'm moving, swaying, losing myself in the sound. That's when they appear, 3 guys who seem to carry the energy of the room with them. They introduce themselves with easy smiles. Daniel, the confident one, with a sharp jawline and a quick, clever tongue that makes every word sound like a challenge. Alex, quieter, with kind eyes that seem to see right through me. And Marco, the charmer, all playful energy and teasing grins. They're in their late 20s, full of life, and for reasons The night at Neon Pulse had spun me into a whirlwind I never expected, and by the next morning I found myself agreeing to spend the day with Daniel, Alex, and Marco. Their energy was infectious, pulling me along like a current I couldn't resist. We ended up at a trendy rooftop brunch spot, the kind of place I hadn't been to in years, with panoramic views of the city and a buzz of carefree chatter around us. Over mimosas, we laughed until my sides ached, their stories of wild road trips, endless late-night parties, and spur-of-the-moment decisions painting vivid pictures in my mind. I felt a lightness I hadn't known in so long, as if the weight of my everyday life, bills, routines, silences, had melted away under the warm sun. For the first time in ages, I felt young again, unburdened, like I could breathe without the constant pressure of what I should be doing. As the day unfolded, it was the smaller moments that stitched themselves into my heart. Alex, with his quiet intensity, pulled out a worn sketchbook and flipped through pages of intricate drawings, landscapes, faces, abstract swirls of emotion. He handed it to me, his fingers brushing mine, and I traced the lines, feeling a strange intimacy in seeing his inner world laid bare. Later, in a nearby park, Marco grabbed my hands with a mischievous grin and taught me a ridiculous dance move, spinning me around until I was dizzy with laughter, my feet clumsy, but my spirit soaring. And then there was Daniel, who, in a quieter moment, shared something raw. How he, too, often felt caged by expectations, like he was living a life scripted for someone else. His words hit me hard, mirroring my own struggles, and I realized this wasn't just an escape. I was rediscovering pieces of myself I'd buried deep, fragments of a Hannah who used to dream without limits, who used to feel without fear. But as Sunday afternoon crept closer, a knot began to tighten in my chest. I glanced at my phone, half hoping, half dreading a message from Ryan. The screen stayed blank, and a confusing mix of relief. As I pull into the driveway late Sunday night, the weight of the weekend still lingers on my skin, a secret hum beneath my coat. I step out of the car, the cool night air biting at me, and drag my bag up to the front door. When I push it open, the silence of the house slams into me like a brick wall. It's suffocating, a stark contrast to the electric buzz of the past 2 days. Laughter, music, and moments that made my heart race in ways I'd forgotten were possible. The living room light flickers dimly, casting shadows across the familiar space that now feels so foreign. There's Ryan, exactly where I knew he'd be, sprawled across the couch like he's part of the furniture. His eyes are locked on the TV, the roar of a football game blaring through the speakers, a half-empty beer can dangling loosely in his hand. He barely shifts as I step inside, tossing out a lazy, "Hey, how was your weekend?" without even glancing my way. His voice is flat, devoid of curiosity, like he's asking about the weather instead of where I've been. I stand there in the doorway, still wearing that red dress under my coat, the fabric a silent reminder of everything I've done. A storm of emotions churns inside me, anger at how little he seems to care, guilt for the lines I've crossed, and a deep, aching sadness that this is what our marriage has become. I'm a stranger in my own home, caught between the life I've built and the life I tasted over the weekend. I force myself to speak, trying to bridge the gap, asking about his fishing trip with the guys. "Good," he grunts, not even turning his head, his focus glued to the screen. Each one-word answer, each moment of his disinterest, cuts deeper than I thought it could. I want to scream, to shake him, to make him see me. But I just stand there, frozen, the weight of my choices pressing down harder with every second. I turn away, unable to face him any longer, and head upstairs to our bedroom. As I unpack my bag, as I stand in the quiet of our bedroom that Sunday night, unpacking my bag with trembling hands, the memories of the weekend swirl in my mind like a storm I can't outrun. The days that follow feel like I'm walking through a fog, slipping back into the mundane rhythm of life as if nothing happened. Monday morning comes, and I'm at my desk again, the glow of my computer screen casting a pale light over my face as I tweak designs for a client. But everything feels different now, sharper somehow. I notice every little disconnect with Ryan, the way he mumbles a goodbye without looking at me as he heads to work, the way our evenings pass with him buried in his phone while I stare at the same four walls. I don't breathe a word about what happened with Daniel, Alex, and Marco, but the secret sits like a stone in my chest, heavy and unyielding. It colors every glance, every forced smile I give him, making me wonder if he can sense the shift in me, even if he doesn't ask. In the quiet moments when I'm alone with my thoughts, I keep circling back to that weekend. It wasn't just about the thrill or the rush of stepping outside my marriage, though those stolen moments of connection, those unspoken sparks, still burn in my memory. No, it was deeper than that. It was about peeling back the layers of who I've become, remembering the Hannah who used to chase dreams and live for herself, not just for someone else's idea of stability. I realize I've let so much of myself fade, dimmed by routine and unspoken compromises. So I start making changes, small at first, but each one feels like a quiet rebellion. I sign up for an art class on Wednesday evenings, something I've wanted to do for years, but always pushed aside for more practical things. I pick up my phone and text old friends I haven't spoken to in ages, feeling a flicker of warmth as we plan to meet for coffee. Bit by bit, I'm reclaiming pieces of myself, dusting off parts of my soul I'd forgotten were there. A week after that unforgettable weekend, I find myself sitting across from Ryan at "Don't forget to subscribe. Like and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you."